Yeah, I Stephen Marley, Bless FM radio, play good tune.
Depression. I said depression. When depression came, I didn't see. The past in my life had caught up with me. The violent abuse I suffered as a child. My uni education that had been denied. So many things I'd suppressed inside. With nowhere to run and nowhere to hide. In a pitch black tunnel with no light inside. Depression came like a thief in the night. Don't know if it came from the left or the right. But in denial, I put up a fight. With coke and alcohol abuse to make things right. My appetite for business and money was gone. Life became devoid of fun. A good woman was needed, but I couldn't find none. My chances were 1,000,000,000 to 1. As suicidal thoughts came along, it took much more than just being strong against a thing so forceful, not so easy to overcome. Alcohol and cocaine, they were the enemy and not my friends. But way back then, I didn't comprehend, as they anesthetized the pain, anger and torment. To forget the years of betrayal from family and friends, and women who came for financial gain. Massive burglaries I suffered again and again, feeling like an outcast with 1,000,000 friends. Committing murder appeared to be justified after the way that I'd been crucified. But somehow God kept me off that path, because only God could abate my wrath. Because only God could abate my wrath. Yes, blessed love, greetings, brothers and sisters. Yes, it's good to be here and find your voice. My name is Tamara Gabrielle, and in the studio we have our sister Marie, and we're going to go through mental health solutions. You know, big up Ragadi, you know, powerful DJ, mighty DJ in the community. Big up all the DJs out there, DJ Supreme, DJ Jammers, Ras McCoy, yes, and all the DJs out there, community radio stations, blessed love, light healing. Yes, brothers and sisters, and so here we are now, and we also want to give thanks to, our brother Natty and his son Leon for doing a great job in managing the station here. Big thanks for that. And right now we've got Marie here, and so let's get on with what we're going to talk about. Yes, Sister Marie, could you please tell us a bit about yourself?
Hi everybody. Can you hear me? Yeah. Hi everybody. I'd just like to say first that I'm really grateful, and I really appreciate actually being able to come on to Bless Radio and just to share my life experiences. And hopefully, if there's somebody out there who really needs help in terms of mental health or somebody to talk to, we're here, to serve all. So I'm just going to start by saying I'm just going to give you a little background about myself and when I left school and things like that, and then we'll probably roll on. This is my first time doing anything like this, so you're going to have to bear with me, you know.
Of course.
I'm not a professional. So,
yes.
I'm a 45-year-old woman born 1966.
Yes.
But if you flip it around, you'll get my
World
right
Cup.
age. Yeah. July 1984, I finished school at the ages of 18 years old. And like back then, life was different. You know, I'm a northerner. I was born and bred back up north, so you probably can tell by the accent.
yes, indeed.
And so born and bred up north. Going to school, we were the only black children within the neighbourhood. So life was kind of tough, but it never held us back from anything. You know, a lot of hard love. But loving from my parents,
Yes.
you know, got me to where I am today. It's my mum, especially. So I started college once I left school in 1984, because then I was allowed to leave, because when I got to 16 years old, I didn't get the right qualifications, and my mum says I had to stay in at school. So you always have to do what your mother tells you to do.
Yes.
So then I stayed on at school. I got City and Girls. And then from there, I went to college and started doing business and finance while still working in a restaurant. Now, I worked in a restaurant from the ages, I must have been at least 14 years old when I've been working in a restaurant. Used to be a washer-upper.
Okay.
Yeah. I've always done something, you know, from a paper round, milk round, to working in a restaurant. And then I was quite lucky that in December 86, I managed to went for my first interview in the Inland Revenue.
Yes.
And that's when I joined the civil service in 1986 as a data processor. And that kind of job entailed by just processing payments, we used to process the payments, people actually pay down in London. We do it up south.
Okay.
I mean, we do it up north, rather. Sorry. And then from there, I decided to come down to London because I just wanted to further my career, and there's more options down in London. So I moved down to London 1999, and I got a job in there working in the cabinet office. And then that's where my world just changed altogether. From there,
for the better or for the worse?
For the better.
Okay.
After spending so much time, you know, up in the Inland Revenue, I got as far as I could go. I couldn't go any further. You know, there's always that glass ceiling, and I'm always believing that you can always do anything in life. There's always a route somewhere along the round. So I decided. So I decided to come down to London. You know, there's more opportunities down here, especially for black people. A lot more opportunities than what we had back up north.
Yes.
You know, in terms of moving around in offices and stuff like that.
I mean, you're talking about back up north. I mean, to say going through your childhood up north,
Yes.
you was the only black child in school and all that. I mean, you said you got through that okay, but how did it, but surely it must have had some sort of mental and emotional effect being the only
absolutely. You know, if you
black
could,
child and you know, in the neighborhood, I don't know. I think these racists are all around the place, and
absolutely.
and if there's no more black people there, if you're the only few black people up there, I don't know. How did you you said that you went through it and you came out, but how did it affect you in any way?
Yeah, it's not until when you actually look back on your life and you realise that you just seem to suppress things. You know, I mean, when I reflect back now and actually look at my life, you know, to say that you could be, you go play out with your friends, but then you'd have to stand outside the garden gate and you suddenly realise that they don't like black people. You get them calling you. You get the parents calling you. You get parents calling you the N-word. You go to school. You had no support system. You know, and the teachers be calling you kizzy and stuff like that. It was hard. It was a battle. But you know, because I got 5 brothers, 2 sisters. You know, if I told my mum, you know, everything what had happened to her, she'd be up there every day.
Yes.
You know, so a lot of the battles were just for, you know, ourselves. But there's one thing my mum always instilled in us: you can do anything. Education, education, education.
Absolutely.
And that's what I stuck to, and that's what got me through. You know, so. Yeah, a lot of tough love, but education, and I stuck at it because I just know that education opens a lot of doors.
Yes, absolutely. And, you know, education does open up a lot of doors. And at the same time, you've got some very bright children out there.
Absolutely.
Highly educated, but they have feelings of low self-esteem, low self-worth.
Yes.
They're going through depression.
Yes.
They're going through anxiety. They're going through suicidal thoughts. Some of them even actually commit suicide. I mean, even today we know that you got children being bullied on cyber social media and terminating their lives and so on and so forth. So, I mean, I know, you know, your parents told us, just study and, you know, do the best you can and all the rest of it. But as an individual, as the child, you know what you're going through in school amongst your peers, your other brothers and sisters and so on, who are supposed to be your brothers and sisters, and from the teachers and so forth and so forth. You know, it can be quite a challenge, and I know that a lot of young boys and girls actually grew up very angry because of the racism that they experienced in school, which and that anger led to being violent, you know, publicly violent. It led to acts of dishonesty.
Yes.
You know, it led to drug and alcohol addiction, you know, and it led to imprisonment, and it even led to being certified under the Mental Health Act, when really and truly they weren't really that crazy a danger to the public as such. It's just that the issues hadn't been dealt with, you know, so this is where we would like to know, how did you deal with your issues? How did you dig into to come, you know, to transcend your you know, that situation as a child?
As a child, I think back then, I think I always look at it this way: when you're a child, you know, you just look at everybody just as a human being.
Right.
That's what I always think. And because I always think it's what your parents teach you. And there's one thing, my mum never taught us to be racist, you know. She just said education, 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 you know. And so the battles what we had were hard. Don't get me wrong, really, really hard. But you know, even your teacher saying to you that you're not going to amount to anything, you see. But I always think all that negativity, I used to always turn into positivity. So I'd always be positive, you know. My teacher telling me that I'm not going to amount to anything made me even more determined to prove him that I will do something.
Absolutely. So there we have a solution here, one way of going through stuff, which is to turn the negative into a positive.
Absolutely.
So take the anger, for example, and instead of going out to riot and steal and all that, channel it into, you know, into building little business or channel it into, working in the community or whatever.
Going out volunteering.
Volunteering,
it's
absolutely.
very good for the soul.
Yes, indeed. Yes, I understand that actually when we go and do something for others, do a little charitable work, it helps to solve our problems. Suddenly where we never saw the solution suddenly appears because we actually stopped thinking about ourselves and thought of someone else. So basically, you just focus, and another thing I got out of what you just said is that just focusing on your studies and all that is a way of blocking out, all the racism, all the aggression, and all the hostility that was out there.
That's
you
what
just,
put me energy
you
into.
just tunnel vision, and you just hold your lane. You like the athlete on the track, and you don't look either left or right, and you don't listen to what's going on. You just focus
I just
to
look
win.
in that rearview mirror and just look at everybody I left behind. But I always say, there's one thing I always live by: without faith, your hopes and dreams will never happen. So you always have to have that faith, and faith, having faith is having faith as a mustard seed when you read it in the Bible. And when you look at a mustard seed, go out on Google and see what size a mustard seed is. You can see how small it is. But holding on to that faith, it's your world will just open to many things, and that's what's got me through. Just having that faith and that belief that I can do. Don't anybody tell me I can't do. I can do it.
Faith, yes, faith. Well, I think it's a lack of faith that leads us into mental illness, actually. Many we lose faith in ourselves.
Absolutely.
We lose faith in our brothers and sisters. A lot of us lose faith in God. We lose faith in society, lose faith in the politics, we lose faith in the system of things, and without faith, it's life becomes
difficult.
Extremely difficult.
I always say, be careful how you think. Your life is shaped by your thoughts, which is in the book of Proverbs. I always say, go out and read the book of Proverbs. That'll tell you everything about life.
Indeed.
Yeah, everything about life,
Absolutely.
And it's true, your thoughts are. If Albert Einstein didn't have imagination, like he said, imagination is more powerful than knowledge, because imagination is limitless,
Absolutely.
And when you think of imagination, the people sat there, you got inventors who just sit there imagining. The black man who invented remote control. You've got a lot of people out there, imagination. A man sat there, air condition unit.
So this is another thing. We can use our imagination to get well. We can actually see ourselves from a depressed state or from a suicidal state to a happy state. Just focus on, just to visualize ourselves as being happy, free from suicidal thoughts, free from depression, free from drug and alcohol addiction, free from criminal activities, free from fear, free from anxiety. We have to imagine ourselves in that way, and this gives us something to work towards. Because from we imagine it, then we start to take the steps one at a time towards that.
Go back to your child state and just imagine what you can do. Just dream of anything you'd love to do and just write it down. That's what I always do. A visionary board is a very good way. Put yourself in the middle and write things what you like. If you want to make change, the best way to do it is stand in front of the mirror and what's looking at you. That's where change starts, with yourself.
Absolutely.
It starts within.
It starts within, yes. It's the solutions are not out there. I myself, for one, I thought the solution was to take drugs and and drink alcohol like it was water, and thought I was doing well, self-medicating myself, and in fact I was slowly committing suicide, and And we see, you know, society today, how it's so it's plagued with alcoholism and drug addiction out there in the families, and the fact of the matter is there's so much denial
Yes.
involved there, and so much shame, and as well, and anger, and it's something which and embarrassment which, so a lot of people refuse to accept, you know, that they're a addict, or you know, or they being violent, you know, with self-justification. Because I know people who self-justify being violent. They say, well, they shouldn't speak to them like that, or so on and so forth. And these things are these mental states there, you know, they are, you know, they're part of the mental illness, as I understand it, because you know, self-justifying ourselves, I mean, self-defense, if your life is in, you know, in danger, is a different thing to someone just, you know, said to you, piss off or something like that, and
Yes.
you take offense to that,
Sure.
you know, so, you know, being honest is being,
I think the hardest thing in life is self-love, just to love yourself. You know, a lot of people say, oh, I love myself. Really? Do you really? You know, to actually look in the mirror and really look in the mirror and really look at yourself, you know? Because that's where it all starts with self. Once you can start loving yourself, and then you can start helping others.
absolutely, absolutely. If you don't love yourself, this is what brings us downhill as well.
Absolutely.
You know, and a lot of us think that we love ourselves, but we don't actually love ourselves.
No.
You know, you know, there's a lot of people who have houses, who have money, who have family, who have everything, and a lovely job and everything, and yet they're depressed, they're suicidal, they're this and that, because all these external things, you know, cannot satisfy them. You know, they have to love themselves. That's right. They cannot satisfy the soul. You're right. So we now understand that mental illness is something that really also affects us from a spiritual level.
Yes,
absolutely. And so if the spirit isn't fed, you know, then we go crazy.
Yeah, absolutely.
You know, because the spirit needs to be fed. That means it needs to be loved. You know, and all that sort of thing, and it needs to be expressed. That means to say, you know, it needs to express compassion, you know, express patience, express, you know, peace, you know, express
love.
Yes, love, absolutely. You know, because we are love, and we're created out of love. So what else can we be but love?
Absolutely, and that's one thing, you know, what even I, you know, struggled with, you know, to find the love, you know, but I know things are going to work out for me.
Yes, because you know,
I can see that there's a light at the end of the tunnel, you know, but I had to really work on myself to find about me, you know, what I'm about and who I am.
Yes.
And to start loving myself first before you can love another person.
Absolutely, absolutely. Well, if you could tell us a bit more about your
Have you ever heard of Colonel Saunders? You've heard of Colonel Saunders, the KFC man, isn't it?
Yes.
Yes, man. Everybody likes chicken, isn't it? Well, not everybody in the KFC man. But if you think about even his journey, you know, he was 67 years old before he ever got his first franchise. 67 years old. This man went around trying to sell his chicken, but nobody wanted to know. And he didn't stop even when he was going grey and old. So there's no limit to what anybody can do in life. You don't have to be any particular age. You can still fulfill your dreams. Absolutely. If you always have that faith, hope, anything can happen. And that's what Colonel Sanders, the KFC man, he had a faith in hope. And now, look at chicken. KFC is just worldwide.
Absolutely.
So, you
Global.
know, that's one good example, but he was 67 years old before he ever had his
Don't
offered.
give up.
So
Don't give up.
that tells you just don't give up,
Yeah, say no to suicide.
Yes.
Say no to depression.
Absolutely.
Say no to anxiety. Say
Yes.
no to fear. You know, say yes to love.
Yes.
Say yes to peace.
Yes.
Say yes to compassion.
Absolutely.
Say yes to forgiveness. And that's another thing which I found that lack of forgiveness is causing us to go crazy. Because, you know, I realize that now, you know, lack of forgiveness causes us to go crazy because, you know, the fact of the matter is it means to say that I don't love myself. You know what I mean? You know, because if I can't forgive myself, because this is where things that people think they can forgive other people, but they can't forgive themselves. Well, you can't forgive others if you can't forgive yourself. You know, so I know that when I can't forgive others, that means to say I cannot forgive myself. You know.
And if you hold that level of hate is like a cancer in the body. You know, that's what it does to you. You've got to just hate nobody but love them. Like the Bible says, love your enemies.
Yes, love them. You know, we don't have to eat and drink with them. You know, we love them from a distance.
Yes.
You know, because what we wish on others, we wish on ourselves. So if so we wish everybody well. We wish everybody will come into the light and bright and live loving and happy and healthy and be prosperous and so on and so forth. Because this is the world we need to see manifest. You know, instead of seeing a world repeating itself, wars after wars. You did this to me, so now I'm going to do that to you. Then you did it to me, and it goes round, and thousands of years have passed because of the lack of forgiveness. We're just living in hell, and the hell and the fire is just getting hotter and hotter and hotter. No one wants to forgive. Everyone will bring up the atrocities. Everyone will bring up all this and that makes us angry, that blinds our judgment, that causes us to become emotionally unbalanced, and so on and so forth. And then we've got children to raise up, and we're raising up our children, you know, on this, you know, with this anger thing going on, and so on, and they pick up on it. It ends up being in their DNA, you know. And now we have our children now so angry, they're murdering, they're looking at each other to murder each other now, and which they actually are doing, you know. So we really, this anger thing here, we really need to let it go. And of course we have to forgive ourselves for being angry, for getting so angry, because when we get angry we give our power away. You know, and we open up the doors to insanity. We're saying, come in, insanity. I'm ready to do any you know, and so on and so forth. But as you said, you know, we have to channel our anger into something positive, you know, which you know, to do that, you know, it takes a lot of honesty, and also it takes a lot of courage.
Yes. But I always say, anybody who's out there suffering from mental health, try and get somebody to speak to. Pick up the phone, ring the helpline, even ring here. You know, we'll ring our number 079 444 313 66. Come and speak to us, you know, because that's what it. I think once you talk about your problems, just let them out. It just makes you lighter, you know.
Yes, indeed. You know,
it makes you lighter. Just sharing is caring, is what I say.
Absolutely, it makes everything light. It's emptying out all the rubbish out the house. You know, 079 444 313 66. Please call us. Please let us know what you're thinking, what you're feeling. We need some feedback. We don't have all the answers here, and but we need to live in the solution instead of the problem. We need to get away from the anger. We need to get away from the fear. We need to get away from the anxiety. We need to get away from the self-pity, feeling sorry for myself, you know, feeling comfortable with that is a very sad way to be. It just leads to terrible depression. And in fact, anger you turn inwards is depression.
Yes.
You know, when you're angry with people out there and this and that, and suddenly the anger, you turn it onto yourself. You know, you hate yourself for being in a certain situation or in a certain relationship or having done certain things or whatever.
Anger is a reflection what's going off inside of you.
Yes.
That's
yeah.
what anger is.
Yes.
It's a reflection of what's going off inside of you.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yes.
So you need to channel that anger somewhere else.
Mm-hmm.
Turn it into love, you know, peace,
Absolutely.
you know?
Mm-hmm. And when you say anger is something, is a reflection of inside of you, well, this means I also see a thing here where I have to be honest with myself about where's this anger coming from. You know, because if I'm going to say, oh, it's because Marie, she stepped on my toe and she didn't say sorry. You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Is that really, that's not really reflecting that on myself. So we really do need, without honesty, we can't really return to sanity. We can't be restored to sanity without honesty. You know, which honesty now is the humility. We need to be humble, don't we? To be honest, we have to be humble. We have to be loving. We have to be meek. In a place, they say the meek inherits the earth. You know, when we're meek, you know, from a place of meekness, people think, oh, we're weak, but we're actually strong.
Yeah.
You know, rather than saying you're sitting on the depression, you're sitting on the fear, you're frightened of this, you're frightened of what people think of you, you're frightened of, you know, what they're saying about you and all them kind of things there. You know, when you're sitting on these things, they're thinking, well, that's the way to do it. Because if you say, oh, please help me, you know, I'm fearful, I'm worried about, you know, what people thinking about me. I'm worried about, you know, life on the streets, and I'm worried about getting a job. Even these things can drive people insane. I've been to 50 interviews and this and that, and I'm still, you know, and blah, 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 and all that sort of thing. All these things drive us insane, you know, and people think that keeping it in is the best way to deal with it. And the dishonesty comes up, I don't want to trouble nobody, or this and that, and blah, 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 blah. But it's good to talk, because some of these people end up committing suicide or end up on the streets after becoming homeless from drug and alcohol addiction or whatever, or they end up in prison for a violent act, when just asking for help or just being honest with ourselves and honest to someone can keep us on the path of sanity, of the solution, instead of living in the problem. And we think we're dealing with the problem by holding it down, when in fact it's making it worse.
The more you bury it deep inside, you know,
the harder it is
the harder
to get it out.
It took me a long time. I mean, when I went for my counselling lessons, I started in October 2016, 17, and I finished, I think it was 2018. So I did the full 60 sessions over a year. You know, but it was good. It was the best thing ever. You know, the best thing ever, just to have somebody who doesn't know just to let everything out. You know, and they're not going to be judge or jury you. You know,
that's another thing you said. There's someone who doesn't know you, and I guess some people don't want to talk to people who know them because they fear that they'll go and tell someone else who knows them, and next thing the whole neighborhood will know they're going through depression, that they're crying in their room, you know, and all them sort of things there, or they're frightened to go out because suddenly they've got agoraphobia, fear of open spaces, or whatever. There's all sorts of madness going on, and you know, the thing is that it's good to know that you can talk to a stranger. You know, that, you know, you can find someone. I mean, I remember one day I was going through a terrible bout of depression or even an anxiety as well, thinking, well, what's going to happen? How's this going to end? How long are we going to go on like this? And I just, and funny enough, there was a church door and it was open, and I thought, man, let me just go in and talk to the priest.
Yes.
And that's what I did, and it helped me to be where I am today, because I talked to the priest, I confessed a lot of stuff, and he said, don't be hard on myself, don't beat yourself up, you've done very well for being honest and coming so far and making all these efforts to leave your old ways behind, which have brought you down into the pit instead of, and so on. And yes, talking to a stranger really helps. I mean, I could go as far as saying...
Did you feel a lot lighter after you just, spoke
Oh,
all
yes.
about... Yeah, and that's
Oh,
what
yes.
it does. That's what it
Yes.
does to you, isn't it?
Absolutely.
You're just sharing suddenly. You were walked in
Absolutely.
with a heavy load, and you probably came out skipping.
Yes, it came out a lot lighter.
Yeah, a lot lighter. So it is,
Absolutely.
it's good to share. So
Absolutely. I mean, I remember when I had suicidal thoughts, for example. Suicidal thoughts used to come along. I know I'm not thinking these things. I wondered where these thoughts are coming from, and so on and so forth. And I was petrified to tell anybody about these things here that's happening, and it just made it worse.
Yes.
It just made it worse. You have to talk. You have to talk to someone, and there's always someone who's willing to listen. It doesn't have to be a professional person. It just need to talk to someone.
Somebody, yeah.
I mean, in fact, I've even spoken to the trees in the past. I've hugged the trees and spoke to the trees, because of, it's better to even talk to a tree than to keep it into
Inside,
yourself.
yeah.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And most of all, of course, praying is very, very powerful. Living in the solution as far as mental illness is concerned. The power of prayer is the only reason why I'm still here, to be honest with you.
Me too, yeah. Yeah, it's limitless, isn't it? It's,
Yes.
It really is just a powerful tool, just to
Absolutely.
take that time out and just share all your problems, all your worries, just pray away. You don't even have to go to church, you can pray anywhere.
Well, we are a church. We're walking, talking churches. We're temples, aren't we?
Absolutely.
We're temples of the Most High, our Creator. So would you...
I was just looking at, I always think that, every day I wake up, that's the key of saying that God's not finished with me. So every day, everybody wakes up, He hasn't finished with you. He's still got a plan for you out there.
Yes, indeed. Absolutely.
This is what brought you and I together, isn't it?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Yes, indeed. We do the right things and the right thing happens.
Absolutely.
This is another thing I learned about insanity. Mental illness is a thing where we've got these habits and we just keep doing the same thing over and over again, whether it's drinking or drugging, thinking every day that somehow the future's going to get brighter, and it just gets darker. Or, we have a couple, I know many couples who argue, for example, and they always argue, and these arguments are insane. They're over a little stupid thing, not enough gravy on the food. And you want to lift up the plate and fling it at the woman. Or the woman want to take the knife and think you insulted me in my kitchen and want to stab him, and all that sort of nonsense. And, over a little, a bit of gravy or you forgot to, add the cabbage in the, in the soup or something. I mean, really and truly, or, I don't know, arguing over who want to watch this program, all kind of nonsense.
Yeah.
These things are insane. Or sometimes I've seen people who, sort of arguing with their little children instead of actually being a teacher, to the child. They're arguing with it like as though they're a child themselves, and they, and getting really angry. I said, well, parenting, is
very hard and very challenging now. I mean, like, I always think growing up, I mean, we're all in school uniforms, we're all the same. Even your pumps were the same, they had no name, it was just the same. You went to one shop to go and get your uniform, so it was the same colour pumps, everybody had the same. So there's no Nike, none of that, no names, everybody had the same uniform.
Yeah.
And the only way you could distinct people who were a little bit poorer than you is if some of them who used to wear glasses, used to have either the pink or the blue ones with the national health glasses and stuff like that. But the bullying what goes on in school today, I feel sorry for children nowadays because it's hard, especially social media. Things, they post something and it can just be go worldwide sort of thing.
Go viral.
And it just goes viral, and it's horrible, really horrible. At least back then we didn't have the phone, thank goodness. They didn't create the mobile phone then, because
yes, well,
I don't think you and I would be here today, would we?
This is it.
I'm just, so you have to be very, very, very careful. Very, very careful.
Absolutely, and you touched on on the vanity thing about children wearing these designer labels or not wearing them, and in fact, this is another thing that's driving our youngsters insane, and even adults as well. It's all this designer stuff. They gotta buy designer to feel that they're somebody. It have to be a designer clothes that they're wearing and shoes that they're wearing and glasses that they're wearing. Otherwise, they're not wearing it. They're not going out. They like as though they're worthless without these things. I mean, this is an insanity and it's a low self-worth. I've spoken to my grandchildren. I said, well, it's you who make that Armani look good, not the Armani makes you look good. It's us who make the cars look good. It's not the cars that make us look good. And reverse that process. Stop giving our power away to material things, to a name. You know what I mean? To a fashion house. Them kind of things, and it becomes idolatrous, and idolatry of material things, of fashion, or even idolatry of even sport, like in football. It's led to, it's a lot better now, but it led to so much violence and so on and so forth. When we start making gods of these things, we end up going out wanting to kill each other, not wanting to, actually murdering each other for these things. Just like our children are doing now, murdering each other, for material gain. And
so sad, so sad.
For financial gain.
We need to just come together and rise up.
Absolutely. And how do we do that?
With a lot of love, a lot of light, and a lot of laughter.
Yes.
Because we need to just help each other. I always think, there's one race what God created, and that was a human race.
Yes.
He gave us all that unique. But like I always tell the children, when they always say, "Where do you come from?" And I always tell them, "Where do you come from?" I always say, "My mother." What about you? Yeah, we know that. But then I always say to the children, if I was born in 1966, where were you? And they stand there, and you can see the minds thinking, 1966, I'm like a dinosaur to them, really, really old. But I always put it this way, I know where you are. You were sat in God's waiting room, just swinging your legs, trying to pick your mum and dad, trying to get them together. I said, and then once you got your mum and dad together, God gave you faith, hope and love, and once you picked out your mum and dad and wrote out your little contract, then you moved into another room. And so your mum and dad come together, and what happens then? Boom, boom! You come flying out!
Yes, indeed.
And that's how life starts,
Yes, indeed, absolutely. 079 444 313-66. Do call us. We're here to hear your views.
Yes.
And also, at the same time, I've got to say, please, if you need any flyers, go to Flying Squad and spend £50 or over and you get 10% discount. So remember, check out Flying Squad, Brother Regan, at Flying Squad. And anything from £50, there's a 10% discount. Okay. Yes. Yes, Sister Marie, you know, so as an adult, like you said, you went to counseling for 2 years.
It was just over, just going on nearly 2 years, 60 sessions over 2 years.
And what drove you to that point there?
I was just, the time in my life, I'd finished work 2012, I took voluntary redundancy, went off to New York for a couple of months, travelled into Florida and stuff like that. And then, 2016, I was just miserable inside. You know, the outside, everybody thought, oh, I'm really, really happy. But inside, it was just crying out with just misery.
Yes.
You know, and I just thought, no, I need to just go and find out what's going on.
And, yes, when you say inside, you was crying out. Now, there's a thing called our feelings. So what were you feeling? Because a lot of people don't know their feelings. What were the feelings?
I was just feeling very miserable.
Miserable?
Yeah.
See, miserable is so miserable, right. So were you angry? Were you fearful? Were you anxious? Were you regretful?
Very anxious. Not regretful. No, very anxious.
Guilt, shame, embarrassment?
Very anxious, just anxious.
Very anxious about what?
Just about life in general, you know. Am I going to get a job? Am I going to find a partner? Am I going to get, buy a house? Am I going to do this? I was just miserable. Nothing seems to be working out, and I didn't know where I needed to go. I didn't know what I wanted to do. I mean, I'd already done a couple of shows doing stand-up, and then there were one...
Stand-up comedy?
Yeah, comedy. But there were one where it was over in, I think it was Chelsea, where I went to go do some comedy, and I just flatlined. I just dive-bombed it. It was just rubbish. And I think that just killed my spirit altogether.
Oh, Lord, yes.
Yeah, I think that just killed my spirit altogether. And I just thought, maybe, Marie, you're just going to have to be your natural funny self, and that little negativity was coming into my head to give up, sort of thing. So I put that aside and thought, no, I need to find out what's going on. So I seeked help, you know?
Yes.
And I think taking that first step is the hardest step, is just accepting that something is wrong.
Acceptance, absolutely. Now we're in the solution here. Again, acceptance that there is something wrong. We admit that there is something wrong instead of saying that there's nothing wrong.
Instead of running away from it.
Great step forward in solving our mental health difficulties, problems, whatever they are. Yes, and so who did you ask for help? Your doctors? Who did you go to?
Yeah, I went to the doctors and I just told them how I was feeling, just miserable, crying, not sleeping good, heart palpitations. I didn't know what were going on, But yet when I'd see my friends or anybody, but hey, I'd be just the Marie, the funny Marie. And then, when that door shuts, when I go home, it's just that miserable Marie.
Yes.
And trying to, my way of coping was to help everybody else or listen to everybody else's problems and forgetting about my own, and that's what I constantly kept doing. I was in my element when I was helping somebody else out, but when it comes to helping myself, I just ignored it. And like you said, you turn to drink. I used to drink a lot of red wine, and now I can't bear probably touching red wine anymore. And it was very hard, and knowing that I'd been working for so many years, you know, after 25 years, 277 days, you know, I just needed to leave because I knew that I got as far as I wanted to go, and I wanted to leave out being on the top. You know, I felt it was a good time, being really happy, last minister that I worked for, but I know even my soul, it wasn't right. I wanted to do something for me now, you know. I mean, it's all well and good your parents being right proud of you. My mum were really proud of me with the jobs what I did and the different ministers I actually worked for and everything. But, you know, by the end of the day, you know, it's about me and not making mum happy. It's my life sort of thing.
Absolutely.
So I just wanted to do something different, and it definitely meant leaving the civil service. You know, I knew that there was something out there for me. So something to do with that gift what God gave me of laughter.
Yes. So that's another thing which affects our mental state, is if we're, like you're saying, if you're in the wrong job, if suddenly you don't like the job you're in, this can really bring you to a terrible place mentally and emotionally.
Yep.
And it's great when you can, when you can admit that and move on. Whereas some people would say, well, they got to pay their mortgage, they got to pay this and pay that. And
I mean, my job, I was earning probably 35 plus. You know, I was on a good wage and everything, with, you know, with the overtime and everything. But it wasn't about the money. I mean, I loved what I did. I really did enjoy, you know, the experience and everything I had was just, you know, out of this world. You know, travelling with royalty, being at parties, you know, even going to Scotland Yard, and this man saying to me, "Oh, I've seen your face somewhere," and I says, "Yeah, I haven't done time yet, sir." Doesn't matter who I met. I met Prince Charles laugh. Yeah, I met an array of people just laugh, because Marie's just Marie. But at the end of the day, I was just miserable inside. I wanted to do something what was good for my soul, and I didn't. I got to that stage where no, I just need to go. I need to go and find myself, and finding myself, you know, just taking off and going to New York for 3 months. That's what I did, you know, and just you know, just get away from everything.
Just get away from your familiar surroundings. Go somewhere unfamiliar. Yes.
And then it wasn't until I came back, then that's when your reality really does kick in. But I never regretted. I was really glad I took that step. You know, because not many people would just give up the job like that. And like you said, when you become unhappy with your job, that's the time to leave. And I always say I practice what I preach, and I've done that with all my jobs. When I become miserable, or I've taken the job as far as I can go, it's the time to leave. I did that while I was up north. I just thought, right, I'm going down south now. I can't go any further than this, because I've already been in and sat down with my manager, my head manager of the unit, and asked her, you know, what more can I do to try and go for the next level? You know, I said, I have a dream. And then when she turned around and said, so did Martin Luther King, that's what killed her.
Indeed.
Yeah, I just said, you know what, it's time for me to just move on.
Sounded like as though you encountered institutional racism there, like as though this is as far as you're going to go.
And that's
it, which can really make one become disillusioned of, you know, the people who they're working with, and question if they were their friends. And well, I don't know, you lose enthusiasm maybe for
absolutely
knowing that, which once again, you know, these are things which are hard to accept, as you said, and we have to accept things in life in order to transcend them. You know, I used to think that accepting things in life would mean that I was actually encouraging this thing, or, you know, condoning it. But in fact, you know, if I accept something has happened to me, rather than not accept it, in fact, you know, the fact that I accept it becomes a lie. It loses its power, you know. But when I don't accept it, it's like I've given my power over to it.
Yes.
You know, and
Yes.
become a slave to it, like the
Yes.
slave to drugs or gambling or to anger or whatever, you know? Yeah.
But I knew I always had that fight and that belief that I can do anything. There's always a way.
Yeah.
The money's never good, but I never look on a job. It's never about the money with me, never. You know, it's
No.
about what's good for my soul. And the one thing I always realised that I was very good with is children.
Right.
You know, I always had a natural gift with children. You know, I don't matter whether young or old, I've always got on, you know, with children. And I thought maybe that's a route I could go into, you know? Because
Yes.
I know I have this one logo what I always keep in mind, that I want to make a million children love, laugh and learn. Yeah.
Well, we'd like to help you to achieve that
Yeah.
with From Rehab to Life Foundation. As a matter of fact, this lockdown situation, did it affect you? How did it affect you? I mean, you know, because, you know, we're all going through rehab at the moment and heading to what we hope to be a better way of life. Otherwise, what's the point of going of going on if you've got no hope of a better way of life up ahead? How did lockdown?
Lockdown was hard. It was hard. You know, at first it was, you were like, oh, it's an adventure, you know?
Yeah, yeah.
But then, you know, something always in my mind always says, you know, you can't lock down a world within 6 weeks without thinking what really is going on out there. You know? The whole world within 6 weeks, you're on lockdown now.
Yes,
There must be more to it than meets the eye, but we'll get into that.
Absolutely, absolutely.
Yeah, but I always, I struggled. It was hard. It was really hard.
Hard in what way? You know.
You know, I'd ring up my mum and you could see that she was finding it hard, you know, because she was vulnerable. You can tell in the voice, you know.
She was fearful.
Yeah.
Or depressed.
Yeah, because I mean, like, constantly you'd be watching news and it'd be just telling you. I mean, I didn't watch television, but constantly, you know, stay in, stay safe, you know.
Yes, you get bombarded with it. You get buried in all this propaganda.
Yeah.
You know, you go to bed with it, wake up with it. And now
It was like a stuck record, wasn't it?
Yes, and we see the state of people on the streets now. I sat to a young lady at a bus station, and she got up and moved because I didn't have a mask on.
Yeah.
She shot off like, I says, my goodness, you know, the fear that has been instilled in people.
Yeah.
And I was so surprised because I thought young people, they probably would be less fearful, you know, than the old ones. But in fact, it's affected everyone, young and old.
Yes, absolutely. It has affected everybody. And even like you said, I always remember getting on the bus. I got on the bus and sat at the front of the bus. And there was one gentleman having his lunch or something, and I just sat there. And then bus went off and it stopped up the next stop, and one man got on and he went upstairs and he sat, and then it went round the corner and stopped off, and another lady got on, and then it went round the corner and stopped off again, and these two guys got on. And then I wondered, I saw this man look really fearful, and I'm thinking, what's wrong with him? And then when I looked round on the bus where we're all sat, all the people who were sat upstairs were all black with this one white man. And he got so scared, he went downstairs, right? And as I go downstairs to go and get off at the next stop, and the man says to me, is there something wrong with you? And I thought, I'm not even going to answer him. He says, why do you keep following me? And I thought, I am going to answer him. And he says, yeah, you, I'm talking to you, why are you following me? I says, I am following you. I says, I'm getting off at the next stop. But you know there's a pandemic. I says, hang on a minute, you were sat upstairs. It's because all them people are black upstairs, innit? You come and move down here, isn't it? I says, well, if you get COVID-19, I hope when you go in hospital, it's not going to be a black nurse who's looking after you.
For real.
Yeah, because he had that fear in him, thinking, and that's a television telling, you know, putting out the headline news, it's mostly ethnic minorities who get you know, the COVID. Yeah, because they're on the front line. They're the ones who are doing the low-skilled jobs, what they kept telling us about. They're the ones what kept the country going.
And at the same time, you had the policemen not wearing masks and so forth. And they say, well, how come everyone's going to wear masks and the police are not wearing masks? Well, even now the mask is being enforced. I understand it's £1,000 fine and all that if you know, whatever, blah, blah, blah. And I see people are adhering to the rules, and the debate continues on whether this is fact or fiction, or, you know, what's the motive behind it. But, you know, we're coming into, as we were going along there, because you spoke of, you were seeking, it sounded to me like as though you were seeking to find your divine purpose, like as though, like not knowing what you're doing or what you're here to do, what are you designed to do, you know, what is it, or what is it actually is gonna make me feel fulfilled. That can drive us insane if we don't know what our calling
absolutely
is.
Yeah, what our calling is, what our purpose in life, that's what I struggle with. But then I realized I found the purpose, and step by step it's fulfilling me day by day. You know, I went back to college. I did my level 2 in childcare. I got a wonderful, the best assessor tutor ever. I always remember, because, you know, I hadn't studied in years. You know, when I go back to college, and she says, oh, you have to do a little test. Well, anything what says a test, I have a meltdown, because I hate exams or anything like that. And anyway, I sat the test, and the lady came out, sat the test, gave her the papers, and she says, oh, we'll let you know whether you're being accepted on the course or not. I said, oh, okay then. And I got off, and then when she rang me up a couple of hours later, I were over the moon. I couldn't believe that, you know, being accepted and I passed. I was so happy. And then from that day on, this one lady has taken me right through my 3 years and got me through every single way. She passed me on to go and join with special educational needs children. So for a year I was working 16 hours a week, volunteering for a year. I wasn't getting paid, but I just loved it. I absolutely adored it.
Well, you know, this is something that I learned as well. Volunteering is a good way to become mentally well again and emotionally well. It brings mental health. It makes you mentally healthy and emotionally balanced when we're doing voluntary work, because I can relate to that. I did voluntary work, and it was the most satisfying feeling that I ever felt, you know.
I used to volunteer even when I was working full-time up in Westminster. I used to do it on a Monday evenings. I used to leave work. Me and this other girl, I'm still friends with her now, that's how I met her at volunteering. She works in the city. We used to go and pick up the old people around Westminster, and then take them to the centre, play bingo, have a little bit of a raffle and everything. And you know, that was their highlight of the week, because that was the only person I'd have constantly where they say, oh, Marie, I really look forward to it. You know, you know me, I've been laughing and joking, you know. Come on, number 6 and 9 is now. What have you been up to? You know. And we, you know, Legs 11, and we just used to have so much fun with them, you know.
So really we need to practice spiritual principles, helping others and all that.
Even 2 hours a week.
In order to be restored to sanity, in order to get well, in order to heal, in order to get emotional balance, we need to be, you know, we need to be helping others. We need to be thinking of others, even when we need help ourselves. You know, but I think the thing is, some people, they feel so sorry for themselves that they're so depressed that the last thing they want to do is to go and interact with anyone. And actually, that is the best thing for us to do.
Absolutely.
You know, if you don't want to talk to someone about your problems, what you're going through, at least we can go and do something for someone, helping somewhere, do some voluntary work, do a good deed somewhere. We don't really have to go to a charity organization to do volunteer. We can check on the next door neighbor, it might be an elder and so on.
Yes.
See if we can, do
often
some shopping for them or help do a bit of cleaning for them or something like that. It's miraculous. It works wonders.
I can tell you what else I've actually done. I always remember I was on the bus coming down. This little old lady, she got off the same bus stop as me. She was way down with bags. And so I said, let me give you a hand. I says, where do you live? She says, I says, well, I'll walk down with you to your door. And I'm walking down, and then suddenly fear struck in my mind, thinking, I hope people don't think I'm going to rob her, But I took her to her door, and I took all the shopping upstairs, ran upstairs, just dropped them on the floor, then come back down, because I didn't want to be accused of anything, because you're not allowed to do that. And the little dear, she's such a lovely lady, she offered me a box of tea bags. But, even just doing something like that, helping.
Yes.
And she was as happy as hell, telling me all the story about how she's going to be cooking for her grandchildren and everything. But just doing an act of kindness, it is good for the soul.
Absolutely.
And then another time I was shopping and I saw a young girl with a baby, and I looked at her and I thought, Marie, don't judge. Don't be judging people because you just don't know. And she was a really young lady, and she had just a few bits, and I put my shopping through, and I asked the man, just put them through, and I paid for her shopping.
That's
and just left. And she went, thank you. I said, that's all right. I said, you look after yourself and look after your little, your little girl.
That's beautiful.
Yeah.
That's beautiful.
So, just a little bit of act of kindness and thoughtfulness. You could buy somebody's coffee behind,
Well, you see, we reap what we sow. If we do acts of kindness, then we'll reap acts of kindness, Yes, we'll reap the joys from it. We'll reap the peace of mind that it gives. We'll reap the strength that it gives us spiritually and mentally and emotionally to heal and to and even heal others, in fact, because that's what we're doing when we're doing kind acts. We're actually being a part of the healing process in our community. And it's something that, it's very badly needed, actually. We need healing so badly. And the fact is some people believe that having all their finance, being financially sound and this and that, and all this and that will solve our problems or help us get to another level. But without the Creator in our lives, without the spiritual aspect of our being accommodated, and being accepted and recognized that it needs to be expressed. We can never, we can never be restored to sanity without spirituality.
See, that's absolutely true. Absolutely true.
I've seen people who, for example, who say that they're doing good, they're doing all right, they don't believe in God, they don't believe in all that. And they're not bad people, neither, to tell the truth and all this and that. But actually, the demons that they try to exorcise out of their lives, whether it be drug addiction, alcoholism, or criminal activities, or violence, or gambling, or whatever it is, it's still... You can see that it's still got a grip on them. They call it a white knuckle recovery, where because they don't have the source, they're not connected to the source, to the power, to the higher power. They're just relying on human power. Every day is like they're gritting their teeth, they're clenching their fists, like a battle. Whereas when we believe in, God, our Creator, we just go through the day smoothly, not to say...
Absolutely. But I always say to people, when they always say, I don't believe in God, but if they were clinging on the end of a cliff, why are you praying?
Yes.
Who you pray to? You don't believe.
Yes,
You know, so I always say there's some kind of belief in everybody. You know, you can call it God or whatever, but as long as you've got that belief, I always say, and try, you know, yet again, like you said, being kind and give service. You know, you know, we're not asking for much.
Yes,
you know?
yes, indeed. Yes, so you know you have you know, you've got a lot of qualifications over the years, and was that an obsession or?
No, it was just something just to better myself, to move up, you know, to get a better job, you know.
Okay.
You know, and likewise with the childcare, I had to do the childcare course, especially because it's safeguarding and things like that, and you need to be DBS cleared and everything. So once you got that piece of paper, because I want to do something with children, so I thought the only way I'm going to have to do that is to go back and study. And I just finished off my diploma, and today, this very day, I got a message from my assessor saying I passed my last assignment, so we're very happy. So that's it now, you know.
Wonderful.
So now I can do, it's just finding my niche now to find out what, I mean, I've worked in a school, and the last school what I worked in put me off for life. So I don't want to do, I'd love to have my own place. What I'd love is to have my own little, you know, like we used to have your own youth club, but an up-to-date youth club.
Okay,
Football, badminton, I'd have a sensory room. I'd have all sorts in it, you know.
Yes,
I would. I'd have all sorts of little computer rooms, somewhere where people can come and contribute to the community, you know.
Absolutely.
I'd love something like that. Somewhere where you've got somewhere to talk to, you've got counselling, everybody under one roof, you know.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah.
Well, you know, you're talking about the sort of things that From Rehab to Life is aiming to achieve, you know, by the grace of the Most High, you know, have our own building and have where there could be an education section and where you have a play, another
computer
area
room,
for,
everything. Absolutely.
Computer room and, you know, where you therapy rooms and stuff like that. And yes, absolutely.
And that could be even serviced through even what they call old people. But old people, I still see them even working at supermarkets. They love to give their time, and they've got experience on them sides. You know, the wise people. So to me, that's who I learn from. I've always learned from the elderly, even growing up. I remember when I used to do a paper round, I used to be sitting outside the shop waiting for the man to deliver the newspapers, and there used to be this old lady across the road. She used to just sit there and look at us all the time. So I used to wave to her, and then eventually I got to know her and started doing all shopping for her, and she used to tell me all sorts of stories. You know, there's nothing better than sitting down and listening to one old person.
Absolutely, and that's another thing that we've lost.
Education. I think there's nothing, you learn more from the young and the old. When you get them two together, it's fun.
Powerful.
It is, absolutely.
Yes.
Absolutely.
Yes, indeed, and that's the thing we need more of, because there's what they call the generation gap. We find, especially in a country like this, where elders are disrespected. You've got ageism.
Yes.
You're looked upon as from you're over 50.
That's
it. You know,
life stops.
That's it. You know, and as far as they're concerned, you know, they don't even want to probably treat you properly, you know, to help you to live longer, and so on and so. Well, actually, this came up with COVID, didn't it? That so suddenly, if you were over a certain age, you were just to be put to one side.
Look what happened in them care homes with them poor old people. I felt so sorry for them. It's just, it's wickedness.
Yes, well, I mean, this COVID thing has brought out some insanities in itself there, and we see. But, you know, so really individually, we're going through different degrees of mental illness. And you know, the government is mentally ill. You know what I mean? The businesses are mentally ill, you know. You've got mentally, even people who think that they're well and this and that, you know, when they really look at it properly, you know, they have some mental health issues. They have some mental health problems. No matter how educated you are, no matter how spiritual you are, no matter, you know, because we have this thing here, etched into our DNA.
Yes.
You know what I mean? Which is insanity. You know, which is also ego-based as well, and anti-God and anti-good and anti-self-preservation. You know, it's self-destructive and all the rest of it. And so
I say open up the churches so people have got somewhere to go. People can just walk into a church like you did, you know. We need it. You know, you don't want us to sing, but at least you can just go and just sit and pray.
Yes, absolutely,
You know?
absolutely.
Just let us just go in and just have that. Nothing being robbed of your faith.
Yes, and those,
Because that's how a lot of them feel that they've been, you know. It is.
Yes.
It's almost like you say, it's like just listening to the Bible, isn't it? You know, it's biblical, you know.
Well, I mean, the pubs are open, so aren't the churches?
And that's what I don't
so,
get. What's more important, a pub or a church?
Well, there we go again. So we see, you know, priorities in society have changed. It's not about being a loving and good person. It's about getting drunk. You see, when you have a drink and all this and that, it anesthetizes you to reality and to the truths and so on and so on like that.
And you can't keep 2 meters apart when you're drunk, can you?
No, you can't.
You can get water in the pot.
It is just madness. It really is how they've just got everything bad to throw.
Yes, and in that sense, how does one really and truly transcend the conditions where everything is, we're saturated with so much insanity. It's
Propaganda.
contaminating us in every form. How have you been? How have you been addressing this yourself personally?
Going to Reiki.
Yes.
Just to try and get to meditate and get that balance in life.
Meditation, that's right.
Because you just feel the energies just coming from it. Well, I stopped. I don't even watch the news or anything like that. Nah, I try and watch funny things to keep me laughing,
Yeah.
I even turn off the radio sometimes because that just drives you insane. You need things to uplift your soul and not
uplift your soul.
Yeah,
some good music, some good laughter.
Some good laughter, yeah.
Some good cooking.
Yeah, I'm not so good at.
You know what I found therapeutic was gardening, actually. It helped,
did you? Yeah,
it helped to keep me sane.
I can't keep anything. I can't grow nothing. I buy plants and they just die on me. I talk to them and everything. I had the one lucky bamboo, and I had that for a good 12 years. And that just grew and grew and grew, and then I used to talk to it, give it water, and then it got a disease. I was so upset.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
I'm not very good when it comes. I'm not green fingers, and I can't cook.
Wow.
But like you said, I mean, the one thing I did like about lockdown is how nature suddenly came to life in London. It was just so nice. The road, the air was a lot nicer.
Yes. And that's another thing that drives us insane is, no doubt, is air quality.
Yes.
All the pollution in the air that it affects us. And also what we eat as well.
Yes.
It can drive us insane.
Yes.
Or restores to sanity. Depends on what we're eating.
Yeah.
Actually, it's a holistic thing, isn't it?
Yes.
It's about our spiritual practices, not just beliefs, but actual practices.
I got myself a water purifier during the lockdown. And I found that even that just tastes so much better than when you look to see what's in the water, after it's distilled. It's disgusting. It really is.
Yes,
bad.
and those bits in there, and all that residue there, it drives people crazy. It makes
absolutely,
people sick.
Absolutely.
You got people, some, like they say with Alzheimer's, for example, it's where wires to the brain have become sort of got all that similar stuff to what you get in the kettle, you know. What do you call that stuff in the kettle?
Lime scale.
Lime scale, you know, it's like like there's some form of lime scale on the brain kind of thing, and so suddenly the connections aren't connected and so forth. And you know, a lot of that has been down to diet.
Diet,
you know. And you know, not only diet of you know, water and food and all that, but also our thoughts. You know, because I discovered that you know, when I think negative thoughts, yes,
your life shapes you by your thoughts. And that's in the book. That's a book of Proverbs again. And it's
indeed,
true.
Yes.
Whatever you think, it'll come back to you. You'll be amazed.
Absolutely, and the book of Proverbs is also a solution to mental health problems.
Yes.
Read the book of Proverbs. It shows us how to live, how to respond to all sorts of situations in life, even ones that haven't even occurred to us.
Yes.
They're there. You know, the book of Proverbs, a great solution to mental health.
They always say that the good life coach, not life coach, the Book of Secrets. Have you ever read that Book of Secrets?
Yeah, I've had a browse through.
Yeah, that's all biblical. That's all what's in the Bible. You know, and that's the biggest selling self-help book. Is a Book of Secrets, but that's all biblical. When you look at it, it's all biblical. It's all what's in the Bible. So, you know, believe it or not, guys.
Absolutely.
Proverbs, just go away, read that, and you'll be amazed. You really will be amazed. Really will.
Absolutely, and it's about action, you know.
Yes.
Because I mean, I've known people who've been going to see counselors or psychiatrists and so on for years and years and years, and they're not getting anywhere. And why is that? Why do you think that?
Because you're not taking action, you know.
You're not taking action, and also you're not being honest as well.
Yeah.
You know,
you're not being truthful to yourself again, isn't it?
Yeah, that's right. Absolutely. Absolutely. The package, it's got to be, you know, we've got to be real. We've got to be authentic.
Authentic, yeah. And there's nothing worse when you're actually your authentic self, you know? And when you're and you're within yourself, in your own being, nobody can touch you. Nobody can touch you.
Absolutely.
You know, there's a power. It's almost like when people always say you bring the energy into the room, because that's what we are. We're energy, aren't we?
Yes.
You know?
Yeah, I mean, some people might say, well, I'm a gangster. I'm a Jack the Lad. Authentically, this one say he's a father, or this one say, and yes, you hear all these things. Authentically, I'm just dishonest.
Yes.
You know what I mean? You know what I mean? Stuff like that. Or authentically, I'm angry. I'm a very angry person, and I won't stop being angry. The anger is good. It drives me on. It keeps me going, and all the rest of it. But as we were talking there, authenticity for me is coming to the understanding and to the knowledge and the wisdom that I am love. You know what I mean? You may be a gangster, you may be this, you may be that, but we're all love. You know, yes. I am love. You know, we're love. You know, and that is the solution. You know, nothing else.
And what you started
and that
off
is
with,
the authentic. That is the real authenticity.
It is, because it started off with I am.
Yes.
And that's what it always is. That is more powerful.
Yes.
I am love. I am beautiful. Yes. I am kind.
This is another thing. You know, we make these affirmations as people going through terrible and dreadful mental illness. You know, we affirm that I am well, I am good, I am happy, I am peaceful, I am strong, I am resilient, I am victorious.
Yes.
You know, I am courageous, you know. And we keep on and on and on.
I am hungry.
And these things do more for us than any
absolutely
antidepressant or anything like that.
Yes. Yes.
Were you
I never
prescribed any?
No, I refused. I didn't want any tablets at all. I always keep saying to them, I don't want no tablets. I don't want. And if they did give me, I didn't take them. No.
And why did you?
Because I didn't want anything controlling me like that.
Right.
No, I know there was more. There's more to it. You don't need.
No.
I didn't want tablets to suppress it. Then what happens when you get hooked on them tablets?
Absolutely.
Then you've got to go through that stage of coming off of them. No.
And there's the side effects as well.
Absolutely, and I didn't want that. I didn't. I just refused flat. I says no. I'd rather do it through food or meditating, and that's what I did. I started meditating, and people find it very hard to meditate. But as you and I know, it's the best. The best thing ever. I mean,
Silence
trust me.
is golden.
Oh, it is. Silence is golden. It really is just golden. Just to go in a room, anywhere, close everything up, put some nice slow. You can always go on YouTube, isn't it? We've got some lovely meditation music, and you'd be amazed just to sit there. And just float away. You feel so good and so much younger when you come round.
Hello.
Oh, I think we've got a call coming in.
Is someone there? Hello. Can I hear someone there? Hello.
We got a call.
Hello. Okay. Hello there. Hello. Well, if anything, ring back, please.
That's on 079 31366. That's 079 444 31366. Please call back. That's our first phone call of the evening.
Yes, well, this is it. These phones need to be maintained. And I don't know what happened there. Sometimes it's just the
a technical problem.
Technical things that's happening here. Yes, indeed. Yeah. Yes. Well, anyway, as we were, we were talking. What were we talking about here just now? Because just
the I ams, how important affirmations are. When you get up in the morning.
Yes.
Say them to yourself while you're having a shower, while you're sat on the toilet, while you're doing your hair. You know.
Yes, because words actually become words are powerful, and this is we're playing around with words, and we don't know what we're playing with.
Yes,
we can talk ourselves into depression, talk ourselves into anger, into rage, talk ourselves into prison, talk ourselves into a mental asylum. I mean, I've seen people do that myself. They talk themselves, they've taught themselves out of a good relationship. And all the rest of it. They talk themselves into becoming homeless, on the streets and so on. It's, I myself, I could say, I talked myself into drug and alcohol addiction, indeed. And, and then I had to talk myself out of it. So as we say, the affirmation, our word, the word is
words are powerful. Yeah.
In the beginning was the word, and the word was with God. And the word is God. And so we are God's, we're God's children, so we are also, we're in the image and in the likeness of God. So we have these God qualities, God personalities, God characters, which we need, which needs to be expressed.
Yes.
It needs to be expressed, and God is a loving God. God is a forgiving God. God is a tolerant God. And if we lack these things in our lives, of course there will be insanity.
You know,
lack of harmony.
yeah, and what people don't realise is communication. You know, like the form of communication, only 7% are words. So when we're talking, it's only 7% of words. The rest is your tone is 38%, and your physiology, your body language, is 55%. So
Right.
the form of communication, the biggest of it, is your body language.
Your body language.
So, yeah.
And your tone is how much?
At 38,
38%.
and
yeah.
only 7% is the actual words.
Yes, and this is where you find a lot of people going through insanity, you know, mental illness. They will try to give that body language boisterous, you know, yeah, you're well gone,
Yeah.
you know, good job. And also at the same time,
Yeah.
you know, as you were saying there, not only the body language, but the
tonality,
but
your
the
tone.
tonality,
Yeah.
and they give it that tone like, oh, really upbeat
the
and
tone, yeah.
laughy and
Yeah.
jokey and all the rest of it, and strong song like that, you know, they're on top of everything. And what's the other one? And the word.
The 7% is words.
And
That's
the
the smallest
7%
part.
is word.
Yeah.
And some people, when they act that out, it stresses them out. You know, when they're not really being authentic.
Yes.
You know, that's a madness upon madness. That is actually, you know, entrenching, reinforcing the insanity that's within.
Oh, we got a call coming in.
Yeah. Yes, hello. Hello. Who's this? I beg your pardon?
Can I get this?
Can you put up the just a moment, we've got the engineer here to raise the volume on the phone. The phone?
Can you hear me?
Oh yes, I can hear you now, brother.
Yeah, it's Roland, Lascelles' son.
Roland.
Yeah.
Roland.
How are you?
Yes, yes, brother Roland.
Oh yeah. Thanks for the show. It's been really great.
Well, thank you for that, brother. And can you give me some clarity on Roland? Do we know each other, brother? Or you just
We do know each other. I'm Lascelles' son.
who?
Lascelles' son.
Oh yes, Roland. God bless you. Thanks for listening. Wow, that's great. Yes. So, so what's your take on what's going on here with this mental illness and you know, the solutions? What
Yeah. Well, you know, I think like I won't pretend to have all the answers. Do you know what I mean? But I did just want to share something that I found very helpful actually. And for me it was like having some I just recently, because like basically what it was, I mean I gave up drinking and smoking weed
yes.
a few years ago, do you know what I mean? And for the first few years I found that giving up that had a very positive effect on my mental health.
Yes.
And for a few years I experienced like, you know, stability and good health with my mental health that I haven't really experienced, you know, before really, do you know what I mean? But recently though I've been having
Roland,
some
can you just
symptoms.
Roland, can you just bring your phone closer to you, please?
Yeah. Is that better?
Do it again.
Is that better now?
No, come back again.
Oh, is that better?
Yeah, just a little bit. Go on, go ahead.
All right. But recently I've found myself having some symptoms again sometimes. Some kind of like paranoia, and just kind of like sometimes I might feel like, you know, people that I don't even know are like talking about me. But what I wanted to share is I found recently planning an organization to be very, because and when I say planning an organization, like what I found was like planning a day that doesn't like, seem overwhelming, I mean, because what times is that people try and do too much and it overwhelms me, and I might just end up doing nothing, you know what I mean, because it's too overwhelming. But yeah, I just decided, you know what, I'm going to try and plan my days in a way that are manageable. And like what I do is I plan it in a way that when I look at it and look at my day, it looks nice, you know what I mean? It looks like a day that is manageable, like a day that I'm interested in living. And just remember doing that the other day, and then the next day I went out and it's like the symptoms just weren't there. I felt more peaceful, more serene. But I just wanted to share that. I mean, I know some people might know about that already, but for just anyone who hasn't done that or doesn't know about that, I just wanted to share that. Hope it might help.
Thank you for sharing. I mean, that's really, really good and really positive, you know. And
Yeah.
it's important actually to try and get out to nature, you know, try and get outside. I mean, I know London's not the greenest of places from where I come from up north, you know. We've got loads of fields and stuff like that. But if you can even just go for a walk, you know, try and find a park, you know.
Yeah.
Try and find some green space and just to be at one, you know. I think it's really, really, really healthy. I mean, during the lockdown, Roland, did you find that the nature was so much nicer, the air was so much more cleaner?
You know what? When I go out again, I will try to pay more attention to that and see if I can notice a difference. I mean, I feel like in lockdown I have been spending more time in nature. You know, I've had more time to be in nature. But to be honest, even when I'm working, I do still have time in nature, but for some reason sometimes maybe I won't get round to being in nature. But just in lockdown, I suppose because I'm home and I'm blessed in that I live near to, like, you know, parks and nature walks.
It's using them five senses we have, what we take for granted. You know what your five senses are, don't you, Roland?
Smell, touch, sight, listening, and taste,
and feeling, and taste, so if you I mean, but we take that for granted. Like who says, you could be walking down and not even hearing or feeling or even smelling, you know, you just walk, you know, not until you probably go past the KFC and it's
But you know, it's interesting that you mentioned nature, because recently a therapist, he sort of said, you know, you really need to be spending as much time as you can in nature. I'm trying to do that.
Yeah, it's important and it's good for the soul.
Yeah. And I know I'm interested in that book, 7 Spiritual Laws of Success by Deepak Chopra.
Oh, and, yes.
He also does recommend, you know, spending time in nature. It's an interesting book.
Yes, I highly recommend it myself. I mean, I spent many years every day going for walks in the woods and so on, and by the river and so on, and get to see the sea as much as I could, and things and connecting with that energy, you know, the natural energy that was there here even before we came here, you know, and it really is very therapeutic. It really helped to restore me to sight. It helped to see me through the day, actually, a day at a time. You know, just noticing the beauty in the flower petals and observing the bees, how they fly from one flower to another, and you see the ants running up and down, and you know, you watch the squirrels running up and down in the trees, and actually, you know, the trees actually become like people, you know, and their personalities, you know, and you know, and you look forward to going into the park to go and sit with that tree or talk to the tree or even hug that tree, and you know, in the end I ended up with a big family. Whole Highgate Woods was my family, you know, and even that walkway that's near you there where the railway track, that nature walk there. All the trees there became my family as well, and they still are, and they're still with me now. Even I don't go out for those walks as often as I used to do, but I still feel that connection with them. And in fact, I went to look for them last week, actually. Yes, indeed.
It's been great, like listening to what you've been saying. I agree with, I think, pretty much most of what you've been saying. It is a, I think, it's important. I think, just if you have mental health illness, to try and be as positive as you can be. I really think that's important.
I'm glad you called in, because this is the first time I've ever done this. So if I've made an effect on your life, Roland, thank you for calling in.
That's fine.
Yes, and I really liked what you said, Roland, about when we plan our day, we don't plan more than what we can handle. Keep it simple. Just plan to do 1 or 2 or 3 things. Don't plan 5, 6, 7, 8 things and put ourselves under stress to fulfill all these things within 24 hours. And the thing is, before we even write them down, we have to be honest with ourselves and know, well, we can't really do all these 7 things today or 10 things today. So what we really need to do is to just do the things that we need to do today. I mean, and it could be simple things like I'll make myself breakfast this morning, and I'll make sure I have a bath or a shower. You know what I mean? And I think I'll iron a pair of jeans and a shirt, and then I'll go out for a walk, and probably have lunch with John or with Jill, or whatever, and
And even me, I live by myself, and I even plan my days. I can get up, and I'm not a very good cook and rubbish at eating, but I make myself have some 3 square meals a day, and I just feel a whole lot different when I do that, so every day I just give thanks, I really do just give thanks. And if we can help as many people out there, and the thing is to talk, have somebody to talk to, it is key.
And I think it's good you mentioned that, Marie, because I think the thing that we have to remember is sometimes when you're a bit sick, it can be tempting to kind of think it's all about you, but the service is important, trying to help others, doing things for others, like you guys have been saying, it is really important.
It is really important, and I always think embrace mental health. I wear it as a badge. It's part of me. It's another box I can tick on my application.
Yes, absolutely.
Yeah, I've got no shame about it.
No, there's no shame whatsoever.
No.
In fact, I've noticed a lot of people actually are quite fascinated and say, yes, I've been through depression and all this and that, and I'm much better now, and so on. I've noticed that people are more compassionate in that area. There's still a lot more to be done as far as that is concerned, because you still have this general attitude of just pull your socks up, man. You know what I mean? Or just hold it down, and you put one foot in front of the other. They just have no clue whatsoever that, it's like a car, if a wire is loose or something electric or something, you try to switch the engine on, it just won't go on. That you have to work on it. You can't just hold it down like that. You can't just switch it off like that. It's
And mental health doesn't have colour, and it's not discriminative neither.
No.
Anybody can have it. It doesn't matter whether young, old, anybody can have it.
Absolutely. And when we're talking about mental health, we're talking about mental illness, and from mental illness being restored to mental health, mental good health, which is what we need. you know, and it is, and as far as COVID-19 is concerned, have you noticed that how people are behaving from COVID? Roland, have you noticed, would you say things have got, are there more mental ill people out there now since COVID, do you think?
To be honest, I don't know. I would assume that that COVID has affected maybe some people who maybe didn't have mental health before, you know, maybe stress and anxiety, or I don't know, maybe frustration has made them become unwell, you know, due to the COVID. But to be honest, myself, I haven't like really, I've been quite blessed, I think, in that I haven't really noticed there being, you know, more cases of people with mental health illness. I mean, not that I have anything against people with mental health illness, but obviously I want people to be well, you know, not sick. But I haven't noticed, you know, sort of more mental health illness around me, so I'm grateful for that.
Okay. Obviously, you know, for us who are going through mental illness, it is important for us to mix with people who are weller than ourselves. So, you know, because that's the way we get well. We can't be mixing with sick people all the time, and who are, you know, who aren't getting. We need to have a balance there. We need to mix with well people in order to get well. Isn't that right, Roland?
Yes, that's very.
Yeah.
Right,
Yes, indeed. Yes, and you know, it's wonderful talking to you. And so, what about medication? You know, do you think medication plays a good role in helping mental illness?
I think it depends on the person and the situation. You know, I think, like, you know, I like to believe recovery without medication is possible. But I think obviously that is a path that requires more effort on behalf of the patient. If they would, that's not to say that I'm trying to say medication is the better path. I would say if you can go the natural route, like, then of course, you know, like, why would you want to be on medication? But I think, like, I don't know. I mean, sort of, what I'm trying to say, I guess, is like, if you're a person, maybe you become mentally unwell, you're not around kind of conscious people that know how to heal mental health without medication. It might be best even just for a while to just kind of like take the medication. You might need that support, do you know what I mean? But I think ideally we like people.
Yeah, did you say ideally you think it'd be better if you sort of dealt with natural remedies rather than pharmaceutical remedies?
Yeah, I think that's what I like to believe would be ideal, you know?
Well, I mean, yes, as you were saying that, I thought of bananas, for example, is very rich in potassium, which is good for depression, you know, so, you know, and I think that's what helped us, our foreparents, our ancestors in the days of slavery. They had plenty of bananas, and they managed to survive. And coconut, you know, we're going to throw the coconut in there as well, you know, and it really helped us to endure, you know, mentally, you know, because it's an antidepressant, you know, that potassium in there, and I think it's just for us basically to, if we want to know the natural remedies, where we just find out what they are, what their properties are, what ways they help us. Moringa is another one. It's a great antidepressant as well, moringa, and a lot of our mental conditions is lack of certain minerals in our brain. You know, minerals even more than vitamins, actually. You know, that the brain needs to function properly. You know, sometimes our mental state is a lot of it is down to an imbalance, chemical imbalance, you know, in our brain. You know,
I'll be really honest though, because I feel like I need to be honest, because this is quite a tricky situation. Because basically, what I would say is, if you know that you maybe for whatever reason it would be difficult for you right now to go down the natural route, maybe it's best that you take the medication. I mean, I'll be honest, myself, I do take medication, but also initially I just used to take medication, really. That's all I did. But over the years, I've learned more about the kind of like more natural, you know, kind of conscious things that you can do, like, you know, meditation, praying, trying to eat well, that kind of stuff. And now I guess I have a kind of I have a kind of
we're gonna cut the line.
You know, absolutely, Roland. I'm with you. You keep on your medication.
I
you know, but you're doing the right. You know, you're doing the right thing, and you'll realise, and you know when it's the right time for you to start weaning yourself off as you become stronger. You know. And like you said, everybody's an individual. I'm not saying out there, you know, nobody should take medication. For me, I just didn't want, you know, because I'm on medication. I have to take it for the rest of my life, you know, 1 tablet a day. And I say, nah, I'm not taking anything else, you know. You know, and that's just me. So I try and manage it, you know, other ways. And I'm finding ways to manage, you know, my anxiety and everything. And it's working. It really is. Yeah. It really is working by just talking, you know. And it's been really difficult through the lockdown, especially when you've got your parents. You know, my parents live up, my mum lives back up north, you know. And as much as you can ring up and say, "Are you all right, mum?" You can tell in the voice. Yeah, but you're not alright, you know, and they're getting fed up, and she's vulnerable, and I can't go up there because they're on lockdown again, and she's scared. I sense that, you know, when I always say, "Oh, I'll just come up," no, you can't come up, you know, so then it just gets me down, because my fear is, you know, I never wanted to go without, you know, go alone, and that's what I find is really hard with this COVID-19 now. You know, people who have passed on has had to just die alone, and that's just, it's horrible, you know? It really is just horrible. And so, you know, we just have to just pray and hope and just, you know, look after each other and respect each other and, you know, and try and rise together as a human race, you know? You know, because that's what we all are.
Yes, we've got to keep the love. We've got to keep the love action going. You know, not just talk, but we've got to.
We can't just talk the talk. We've got to walk the walk.
Absolutely, absolutely. Yes, Roland. There's someone else who's trying to call in, and so.
All right.
So thank you for calling in, and I hope to see you around the place. And you know, God bless you. God bless you, Daddy, you know, and a lot of love to Daddy, who's now on the other side. You know, love to your mother and all the family.
Thank you.
And look after yourself. Keep it up. Keep it up.
Yeah,
you know?
keep strong, Roland.
Positivity.
Yeah, keep it up there. And keep going out into nature, Roland,
Yeah, all right.
Love and light,
God bless you. Lots of love. Yes.
You got another call there.
Yes, is it? No, it's not. No, not yet. Yes, anyway, we're going to play a track here. So here we go. And let's see how things go from here. Well, there we go now. It seems as though, Ereline was my best friend, my cousin and girlfriend. I never ever had to pretend.
I like this. This is good.
We lived close together by the sea, on the beach of Lagon. I love the beauty of her mind and skin, and her spirit deep within. That's my Ereline, childhood sweetheart and darling. So when I had to leave, I was sorely grieved, as I held her hands that night on the stars and full moonlight. Although I was just a child, I felt like a man inside. I touched her intimately, enthralled by her beauty, knowing I'd soon be missing our touching, cuddling, and kissing. Although we were just children, we knew we were more than just friends. And that loving feeling would never end.
Hello, what's your name?
Yeah, it's Supreme.
Oh, Supreme. Oh, hello, Supreme, and how are you?
Yeah, not too bad.
So how can I help you?
How can you help her? I'm glad that I got through because I keep ringing and ringing and ringing.
All right, you've been ringing and ringing and ringing.
The line is saying it's busy, so you must be doing some good works.
Oh, well, one person, yeah, somebody phoned in. We were on the line quite a long time with them. So, no, it's lovely to hear from you. I'm glad that you phoned in. Is it something that you'd like to share with us?
No, it's just that I wanted to join in the conversation. I mean, you touched on words and affirmation, and I was going to say that words are intentions.
Yes.
So when you say something, you're bringing on an intention.
Mm-hmm.
So that's where I was going to join in the conversation. So sometimes if you say, I'm fed up, that, as well, like you were saying as an affirmation, you're bringing on an intention.
That's
you're
right.
bringing it on you,
Mm.
and it's the same the other day, even yesterday, we were talking about dreams.
Oh, yes.
And dreams, the intention, you can intend something in your dream.
Mm.
But are you talking about mental health today?
Yeah.
Well, I don't know how much time you've got left.
Well, we've got a little time, we need to talk a little more about it, before we round off.
I've just joined in the conversation.
Yes, brother.
Reasoning. And I'm going to say the biggest thing that's currently happening right now, the biggest sickness, I would say, is fear.
Yeah.
There's this fear going on right now.
Mm-hmm.
And fear is what's the beginning of stress, the beginning of illness, the development of an illness and a sickness as well.
Mm-hmm.
Because everybody's living in fear,
Yes.
and this fear that's put out there is
Yes.
intentional. And a lot we say mental health. I'm going to say it's mental illness.
Mental illness, that's right,
Yeah,
brother.
because mental health. If we're talking about, because there's good mental health.
Yes, that's
You
right.
understand?
That's right.
So when
That's
I say
right.
mental illness, and again, I love your conversation because I do believe when it comes to the current climate, everybody's suffering from anxiety, depression, low mood, and it's how we deal with that. These, what can I say, these issues that we have, or the current intention, what's going on, how we get out of it. And
Yes.
I think there was something that you said about depression. And it's very interesting because when you're going down and down and down and down, and I call depression like you're walking around with luggage.
Yeah, yeah.
You're walking around with a load of luggage.
shoulder, yeah.
And it's very interesting today. For instance, today I was in a good mood, and then I got a phone call from someone, and what they actually done was downloaded their luggage onto me.
Oh, right.
You understand?
Yes.
I what the word they call that, but transferring. They transferred it to me, and I kind of said to myself, oh.
That's energy vampires, isn't it? That's when somebody, I mean, you always have people who can just drain your energy.
Yeah. So, again, I don't know, Sister, what area you're in. How do we deal with these?
I've had energy vampires in my life, and I think the hardest thing is, especially now you've got mobile phones, you always get where if you block somebody they get really upset, or if you delete the number they get upset, and it's like, but you haven't phoned me in a year, but yet you're getting upset because I'm getting rid of your number, you know. And sometimes you just have to just live with it. You've got to think of yourself and what's good for your soul. Sometimes I'm a great believer that people come into your life for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. If you put that in Google, it'll break it down and tell you. People come in to teach you a lesson. It could be a reason. A season, people could just come in to... I've got my little thing here. I can read this to you. Is when somebody is in your life for a reason, it is usually to meet a need you have expressed. They have come to assist you through a difficulty, to provide you with guidance and support, to aid your physical, emotional or spiritual. They may seem like God sent, and they are. They are there for a reason. You need them to be. Sorry, I can't really read this. I've only got my one contact lens in. Then without any wrongdoings on your part or at an inconvenient time, this person will just say or do something to bring that relationship to an end. And then that's when somebody just comes into your life for a reason, and if you look back on your life, you can see people, because that's what I do. I reflect back on my life. You can even reflect back on your life and just think of the people who've come in. It could be, for a reason, a season, or a lifetime. They could have come in just to teach you a lesson, and then they just disappear. And then you realise that. But if you really do see back, you've got to just be with people who you resonate and who's good for yourself, and who believe in your dreams and believe in you. And that's what I believe. Like I said, my last job, I got rid of a lot of people, and I just move on.
Here we're talking about boundaries here, having boundaries. Like okay, these people who wind you up all the time, you don't go around these people anymore. Or certain places they used to go, that will bring down your spirit or will cause you to fall into temptation. You don't go, your boundaries. Sometimes family members we have to stop talking to or stop visiting and all for peace of mind. Peace of mind is
doesn't mean you don't love them,
Absolutely.
Yeah, you just send them off with love, sort of thing,
Yes, well, I personally avoid people who only come to bring you down, to drain you. I mean, I'm all for helping people who are ready to, rise and shine. They say they've had enough, and they're too much pain, and yes.
People who drive you, make you happy, you share something in common.
Sis, I'm just going to say something, because recently I've decided to get more involved in what a thing called personal development.
Oh, yes, I'm all for that.
Yeah, and my personal opinion currently right now, and I've had it for a while, that our youngsters need to get into personal development. Another thing that I've got into, and this is just me sharing with you, that I've got into, I haven't finished it, but I'm doing a course, and this course is what they call NLP.
Oh, I've done that. No logistic
Yeah.
programming. I've done that.
Yeah.
Yeah, I've
And-
done that. It's very good.
and-
You'll enjoy it.
I tell you why I got into it, because I was a project manager at work.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, and what I found is on the course, a lot of management of people is psychology.
Mm-hmm.
It's just how you get people to do things for you, why people will come to work,
Absolutely.
changes in behaviour.
Yep.
And when I looked at this, I was doing this course, I was thinking about, hold on a minute, a lot of this stuff I'm reading is psychology, so it got me into
it's a bit low, I know.
into NLP and psychology. And another thing,
Phone?
I sat down and I thought, wow, I've learned all this, but I just thought to myself, I could say thousands of years, psychology has always been used on us, and we didn't know.
Oh yeah. I've used NLP. I've done all the NLP. Read a lot of books on the life coaching. Been on loads of courses. Like I says, if you read the Secrets, that's the biggest selling book going. But that's all biblical when you actually look into it. But no, NLP. I tell you, there's a good thing I always think that they should make everybody do. And especially children at school, is to do the Myers-Briggs type exercise. And that's, you can Google it and have a look.
Yeah,
I find that really,
Myers-Briggs
really interesting, because when you do something like that, it really tells you about you, because when you answer the questions, it's not a test, it's about you, and it's about being honest with yourself, And I think that's a good indicator to take you to where you want to go, because that's what I did, and I was quite surprised at what came out,
Yeah. I thought Myers-Briggs is a personality test.
That's correct, yeah.
I think it's to do with personality, and I'm gonna share something with you and with the great brother Doug who passed. Me and
God
brother
bless
Doug.
his soul.
Yes. We both went to in central London, a place called the Church. Is it the Church of Scientology?
Oh, Church of Scientology.
Yeah, right. Now they do a lot of, I can say a little bit of The Secret, a lot of personal development, a lot of personality tests, a lot about, they actually give you about 100 questions, and you answer them, and they look on the areas of your life to say, this is where you can improve, this is where you're weak. It's similar to your Myers-Briggs, but it's very interesting, because I'll be quite honest, I was quite scared to do, because of the connotations that's attached to they're saying they're an occult and this and that. But they actually do a lot of good personal development stuff, and a lot of the stuff has been taken on by the Nation of Islam. I don't know if you heard anything about that. There's certain people that's kind of going, oh, the nation. And then even when I went to a meeting down there was some of the Nation of Islam was down there. So it's very interesting. There's when you go to church or you go to a faith, sometimes you're drawn to one part of it. That's really good. But there's another side that you think, oh, I don't know about that. I just don't know about that area.
That's what you call your ha-ha moment, isn't it? Something what resonates with you, and there's other parts of it that don't.
Yeah, yeah. But as I say, to everyone, faith is a good healer.
Absolutely, that is
if you have faith,
yep.
Yeah, if somebody's sick in hospital, look at how the church operates. Everybody prays for that person. They go around their sick bed. So the love is a healing.
Yeah.
It helps, because when you when you feel that a lot of people are around you and supporting you, it's a very big boost.
Yes.
It's a boost. That, that's why I'm so frustrated, sis. That's why I felt, and I'm looking at a picture of him right now, Michael Jackson.
Mm.
Michael Jackson's life was on stage. But his personal life was in tatters.
If you listen
Where he
to,
was getting all the
listen,
adulation was on stage.
if you listen to his record, The Man in the Mirror, that's all about looking in the mirror. If you listen to the words, the actual words, it tells the story, you know?
Sorry, repeat that?
The Man in the Mirror,
Yeah.
if you listen to that Michael Jackson's record, The Man in the Mirror, that's actually telling the story, you know? If you listen to the words and the lyrics, what it's actually talking about.
Yeah.
You're looking at yourself, oh yeah,
Can I
well, a
ask,
giveaway, but we
you-
didn't realise that it was just attuned to us, you know?
Yeah. Are you a singer?
He said, well, are you a singer?
I can't sing a note. I can laugh.
Can you
But
whistle?
I can't sing. I can't sing at all. No. Not at all. Very funny, but no, not a singer. I mean, I've got 5 brothers and 2 sisters. I used to always say the Jackson 5 and the 3 degrees, but none of us can sing.
Well, you know something, I think this is a good way to wind things down on laughter. That's another solution to mental health difficulties, illness, is laughter. We can laugh our way to good health again. And thank you, brother. Brother Supreme, for for the words, for the affirmations, for letting us know how powerful these things are and how these things determines our intentions and what manifests in our lives. So we've got to turn things around, keep it positive.
Yeah.
Yes.
And always remember, on my word, just before we go, always remember, without faith, your hopes and dreams will never happen. Without faith, your hopes and dreams will never happen. So always have that faith of a mustard seed, and your whole world will open up to you.
And we've got a comedy, the comedian coming on now, DJ Limbs. So DJ Supreme, I'll see you in the near future, brother.
Bless.
And thank you for calling. Blessed love to you and family. Give thanks and praise. And yes, brothers and sisters, we're coming to a close. I trust by the grace of the Most High that, some of you got something out of this to help you on your journey, on this mental journey that we're on, as well as a spiritual journey, an emotional journey, and physical journey, and in financial journey that we're on. Well, just remember that love is the key, brothers and sisters. And remember also, please, any flyers needed, please check Flying Squad. There's £10, there's 10% off anything over £50. There's 10% reduction. So do check Flying Squad for your flyers. And also, please get in touch with From Rehab to Life Foundation. We need trustees, and we also need volunteers, and anyone interested in being the director as well of From Rehab to Life Foundation. Please get in touch with us at From Rehab to Life Foundation.org or From Rehab to Life.com. Also, apart from that, we need donations. So please, we trust that you can find some way to donate, even if it's not money. Money, we need that because we need to set up these programs so that we can help our youths to live positively instead of negatively and self-destructively. And also we need to help each other, and so we need to spend money with each other and support each other's charities and each other's efforts that are healing to our community. And so anyway, brothers and sisters, we've got to go. Blessed love to you all. And by the grace of the Most High, Love, light, and healing be with you, and we'll see you all, or we'll talk to you all next week.
And
Blessed
love, light, and laughter to everybody, and thank you for having me.
And thank you, Mr. Marie. It's been a privilege, pleasure, and an honor, and we're sure going to have you back again. And we're looking forward to that.
Thank you.
Blessed love to all in the community.